Hello again. Welcome back to another week of Flow with the Grow. I'm your host, Sophia, and this is a podcast for all things health and wellness, fitness, nutrition, mental health, mindset, spiritual health. And if you've been listening the past couple months, I am now in a transition to speaking more into nutrition-based episodes, whereas before the past 2 months, it was with guests and talking more within spiritual health and even mental health. So I'm excited. I'm going to try and keep the next couple month of episodes nutrition-based as well as shorter episodes with actionable things that you can do to improve your nutrition, your health, give you maybe some new perspective and insight and knowledge around nutrition so that way it is digestible and makes sense and you can implement it into your life and into your journey. I am right now it is July 6th of 2022, and I am currently in the process of completing my nutrition certification, my level 1 certification through the Nutritional Coaching Institute. I've learned a lot, and I'm excited to apply everything that I'm learning and continue to learn with a few clients, with all of my clients, but I have to actually submit to people's journey, like their whole entire journey from start to finish. They also said I can send in more and just to have a couple backup people. I mean, you never know. Something could happen. I don't know, whatever it is, just to have a couple backup case studies to send in. So I have to go through this whole process, send a bunch of stuff in to, quote, pass. It's not like a pass or fail, but I have to apply the knowledge in order to pass based off of their criteria, their rubric, what they want to make sure that I know so that they can put their name behind my name. And then after that, I will likely be accepting more clients to take on. So today, let's get right into it. Right into it. Today's topic is going to be around protein. So a couple things that I hear from my clients when we're tracking within whether it's a food log or a food journal or it's through an app like MyFitnessPal or My Macros Plus is actually the app that I like to use and that I recommend to my clients. So tracking food in some way, one of the struggles is getting enough protein in. I hear people say that it is hard to hit their goal for protein for the day. First of all, I think it's important to slowly increase. It's totally okay if you're, not hitting your goal. Maybe you just got to scale that back a little bit. But in today's episode, I'm going to share with you some ways that have helped me to increase my protein in an easy way. And it helped me a lot to hit my personal protein goals when I track. Not only that, but it has helped my clients too. They're like, oh yeah, that actually helps a lot. So, number 1, how you can get more protein in for your day. And by the way, this is whether you're tracking or not. Maybe you are someone you're just starting small. You're taking the first step of the first goal is increasing your protein, and that's all you're going to focus on. Props to you, one step at a time. This is also going to help, especially for you, because if you're not tracking, you don't really have a way to know how much you're eating and kind of where a goal that you could hit. But maybe that's okay. But maybe that's, something that you're going to take on in the future as a goal. So if your first step is just to be more intuitive about what you're eating, or you're just wanting to eat more protein, but you find that it's kind of hard, this is a great episode. I'm going to explain the benefit of protein and a good goal for you, for each person, something that you can shoot for. That'll be more so for if you're tracking, so how much you're actually eating, but I'll kind of give a rough estimate too for either way. And then some of my favorite protein sources, and I'll just kind of list off some ones that you can implement, maybe ones that you've not thought of before. And then I'm also going to include 2 recipes. This will also be in the show notes. These are 2 from TikTok. Me and my girlfriend Kiana, we love finding, actually she's on there more than me, but she'll find different recipes and send them to me so that we have them. I usually save them from Instagram. I like the sweets more though. I like finding different sweets, except I'm not as much of a sweet person. That's a topic for another day, but I'm not as much of a sweet person, which is kind of weird. Anyways, so we have found these 2 recipes, higher protein and delicious. It's not just your typical chicken and rice. but we will talk about that. But it is a pizza and donuts. So if you stay to the end, I'm going to actually list it off for you, but it is also going to be in the show notes. You can definitely go there. I'll have the link to the TikTok if you have that. And also I'll just list out the recipe there. All right, let's first start with the tips that I have, the ways that you can, that will help you to incorporate more protein. And also, by the way, this is actually a really good first goal, like a first step to have if you're wanting to help with changing your nutrition or just eating better, and you want to just have it be a super small goal. It could be just getting more protein in. So this is a great goal to start with, because if you're also lifting weights and doing strength training, which I hope you are or you're going to be, whether it's body weight or with weights. Also, if you hear a little jingle, that is my little, that's our kitty, Sushi, playing. Okay, so if you're weightlifting, strength training, you need to also be incorporating protein, and probably more protein than you were in the past, especially if you were not incorporating strength training. So number one, start your day with protein. Start your day with your first meal, aka breakfast, incorporate protein. And here's a little hack that I've started doing. So I love eggs. I like scrambled eggs, whatever kind of style you want. Add chicken to it. Bam, more protein. If you have hard-boiled eggs, you could still have chicken on the side of it, just with it. And here's a mindset shift for you, if this is you, because in the past, for years, I would not eat before noon. Didn't matter what time I was getting up, I was not going to be eating before noon. I had to work out first. I wanted to wait. I had a whole thing. And it was weird for me. The first food that I would eat had to be fruit. I don't know where this came from. Maybe all the years and times where I did cleanses and fruit was the first meal. And I'm not saying that fruit is bad, because it's not. I think it's very good for us. And I won't get into that now. But my mindset was I could not have any other sort of food. Or my mindset was, okay, quote, breakfast foods, pancakes, oatmeal, eggs, maybe yogurt, granola, cereal, the breakfast foods that we are taught. That's the only, that's what I would have. That's what I would need to have. I thought it was gross if I had chicken, chicken and rice, or chicken and avocado and rice, or something a vegetable and a protein. But actually, that's what you need. That's what's really, really good for you, is having a protein, even a healthy fat, and a little bit of carb, but especially getting that protein in. So it's this weird mindset shift that I went through. Okay, it's okay to eat my chicken and rice and broccoli before 11 a.m., before noon. So I had to work through that, and I feel better. Changing my mindset, and also the foods that I would eat, and not having to be a bunch of carbs first, has made me feel better. And I can tell in my workouts and in my day. This kid. Okay, I had to take his little jingle ball toy away. Her. So as I was saying, it's also a mindset shift from having or only having, quote, breakfast foods for breakfast, for your first meal. Breakfast is just breaking our fast. We all fast in the middle of the night when we sleep. Break, fast, breakfast. So hopefully try and just get out of your head that you need to have, quote, breakfast foods like pancake, muffin, oatmeal for breakfast. It's okay to have, like I said, chicken and rice. I'm throwing around chicken and rice a lot, but that's just what's coming to my mind right now. God damn, these cats. So this honestly was a game changer for me. It has helped me a lot, was to throw in chicken with my scrambled eggs, or maybe if you have, some people have egg bake or egg burritos or whatever it is, just throwing in chicken with it. Another one that I've done is yogurt with protein powder. So having the yogurt, mixing the protein powder, I've done it with vanilla yogurt or plain yogurt, and when I've mixed in chocolate protein powder or I've had chocolate collagen, it is like pudding. It's amazing. I love it. Me and Kiana have also made it's like an egg oatmeal bake thing. But the way to have more protein is so there's liquid egg whites. By the way, when you have eggs, just have the whole egg. Don't have just egg whites. But this specific recipe uses liquid egg whites, protein powder, oats, water. All it is 1 cup egg whites so 1 cup liquid egg whites, 1 cup oats, 1 cup water, and we throw in, I think, 1 or 2 scoops of protein, mix it all together, put in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and then you just kind of got to keep adding about 30 seconds, just kind of get the consistency of it. And you can cut into 4s or whatever and put whatever you want on it. Peanut butter, banana. So that was another easy one that we did because it lasted a couple days throughout the week. Moving into number 2, eat a protein with every meal. So incorporate a protein source with every meal and eat it first. Eat the protein first. I know a lot of times I've heard from clients that when they eat, it doesn't make them full or just from anyone talking to people, they don't get satiated. Well, protein does that. So if you eat your protein first, I'm not saying you'll get full instantly right then and there, but it will help. And then it helps to just not maybe have some of the foods that you love, but you don't want to overindulge in, or you're just trying to eat more quality nutrient-dense foods. That's just another little hack that you can do is eat your protein first. Number 3, if you eat snacks, if you incorporate snacks into your day-to-day, have it be a protein source. And another hack to that maybe you didn't think of because this is a conversation that I've had with some clients, is to have like a mini meal. Like who's to say that, so you have your meal of, let's just say, again, chicken rice and broccoli. Well, you want some sort, a snack, have just a smaller portion of that or whatever meal that you have made or that you want to make. We also, I think, can tend to get in this mindset of, I want a snack, so what are the snack, like quote, snack foods that are usually packaged and processed? So like crackers, granola bars, chips, like just the foods that we label as snacks. But if you shift that mindset and say, you know what, I'm just going to have this mini meal of whatever it is, it's going to incorporate protein, fat, carb, or a protein source and a carb or protein, healthy fat, like whatever it is, pair it with something and have that. But incorporate a protein source in every meal. Number 4, a meal prep service. This can help with kind of tracking your macros and tracking your protein and kind of knowing like how much you're having in each meal. Not saying that you have to have a meal prepped service meal every single meal, but they tend to usually have a protein source and a pretty good amount of protein, I would say. So that's another thing that you can do, especially if you're someone who you're busy, on the go all the time, you struggle with the meal prep, or you just don't meal prep like you intend to, but it can just be a great resource that is available to anyone. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, I know there's a couple of meal prep delivery places here, but also there are some online that you can do as well. And number 5, a protein powder supplement. So I know I included that in a couple of the other tips, but I wanted to also include this last because I'm always from a food first approach, but a supplement can be a great way to get more protein in if you are struggling, and not as a meal replacement, and making sure it's a quality sourced supplement. I always look at the ingredients, look at the amount of the protein, make sure there's not a laundry list of ingredients that I don't know how to say or aren't from whole food sourced ingredients. So just be careful with that. I will say that the current one that I use is Ascent. I also throw that in my coffee in the morning, which I guess could be another hack. I throw a scoop, maybe a little less than a scoop, in my cold brew, shake it up. So I have that. And again, not as a meal replacement, but it can be a good way, even sometimes, to have it twice a day. I love to have it as a post-workout drink, or another way they could do it is to throw it in different things. So yogurt, oatmeal, if you like cream of rice or cream of wheat, maybe steel cut oats, maybe sprinkle it on your fruit. That's all that I can think of right now for mixing it with stuff. So I'm going to recap these really quickly and then moving into the amount of protein, the benefits, and the list of protein sources that you could have. Not that you can have, but giving you some ideas. So tip number 1, start your day, your meal 1, your breakfast, with protein and with incorporating a little bit more protein. So the eggs with the chicken, for example, and changing your mindset around how you label, quote, breakfast foods. Maybe not necessarily how you label it, but making sure to not have that box of, okay, these are my breakfast foods, these are my non-breakfast foods, and the time of day in which you eat. Number 2, eat a protein source with every meal, and you could even try eating that protein source first. Number 3, when you have snacks, a protein hack could be to have a smaller mini meal that incorporates protein, or just making sure that that snack is a protein source. Number 4, utilizing a meal prep service. Number 5, utilizing a protein powder supplement. What is a good amount for you to intake for protein? How much should you be eating per day? What's a good goal? Well, I mean, the answer is that it's very individualized and it depends. It depends for everyone. But I will say that if you're someone who you are tracking your calories, your macros, your fats, proteins, then a good rule of thumb or a good goal to shoot for would be your body weight in grams. I'm about 130. I range from 130 to 135 or 136 pounds. So my goal would be 136 grams of protein per day. Now, if I'm already eating if I'm under eating and I'm nowhere near that, like let's say you're someone, you've been eating 50 grams of protein, 20 grams of protein, no protein. It's okay. You don't want to just shoot and jump for 130 grams of protein the next day. Like you can slowly increase towards that. You could also think about it as 0.5 grams per pound of body weight. If you're not tracking, you don't know how many grams you're having, obviously, since you're not weighing your food, then if you're just where you're in a place, you're just starting small, taking small steps, then it's okay to have your goal maybe maybe be a protein source with every meal, including what your snacks are, and you're just trying to intake more protein than you have in the past. Totally fine. But generally, that's a good rule of thumb. As far as some benefits of protein, just the small version is, if you don't know, is that it helps with building muscle. When we break down muscle, if you're strength training and lifting, you're breaking down muscle, you need protein to rebuild the muscle in order to build muscle and then in order to increase your metabolism. So it is a super important nutrient to intake every day and to intake enough of it. It is also important to remember that we are always breaking down and rebuilding new proteins. And while we have the ability to store carbs and fats, we cannot store protein in the same way. So protein loss is always occurring. So this is why it is essential that we take in enough protein to keep the process of protein happening, protein turnover happening, losing, building, adding more. So keep that in mind. Very important. Before I forget, I also want to say, again, I had said that it's dependent on each person, on the individual, but also it's dependent on the goals. And if you are currently resistance training, are you currently lifting? You have to take into account your workouts, your age, the way that you've been eating. So really it could range between 0.7 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Maybe you are overweight and you have a certain goal weight that could also be used as a goal for your grams of protein if you are tracking. Again, rule of thumb, the more physically active you are, then the higher your protein needs will be. But overall, generally, and with the general population and with my clients currently, it's about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And that seems to be a good goal to shoot for most people. And like I mentioned, I'm always from a food first approach. That's very important. Work on increasing protein through food and the quality of your protein. And then a supplement can always help to supplement your protein intake. Now, protein sources. We typically think, and maybe right away think about animal products as the main protein source. But it's also important to note that pretty much all foods have some protein in them. Broccoli, avocados, potatoes, nut butters, they all contain protein. They may not be the protein source or a significant source of protein, but just make sure that you are also accounting for that as well, especially if you are tracking. So here are some protein sources, the primary protein sources. Of course, the meat, like I just said, beef, steak, wild game, chicken, turkey, seafood, so wild caught, fish and shellfish. I personally love salmon. There's cod, tilapia, dairy products like yogurt. Another one of my favorite sources has been recently yogurt. We usually get the Greek yogurt. I either get plain, full fat, or vanilla. Sometimes we get the non-fat, but I like to mix up the ones that I get recently anyway. If you're plant-based, you're vegetarian, things like beans and lentils can be great sources. Tofu and tempeh are great sources. And then, like I said before, protein powders, and lastly, protein bars. But again, food first approach. Okay, and that concludes the episode for protein. Here is a quick recap of what we talked about today. The protein hacks to help you with getting more protein in for your oh gosh, shit, I almost forgot the recipes. So, quick recap and then the recipes. So, the hacks for getting in some more protein if you struggle with doing this. So, number 1, start your day with a protein source, and for your first meal of the day or breakfast, include more protein than what you typically normally would. So, for example, scrambled eggs, throw some chicken in with it. Number 2, and with that, start to change your mindset, or just be open to changing your mindset around labeling foods as a breakfast food and needing to eat certain foods at certain times of the day. It will help you a lot in the long run. Trust me. I went through it and it is a lot more freeing. Number 2, eat a protein with every meal and eat that protein first. Number 3, have your snacks be a protein source for food. And it can also be a smaller mini meal for a snack. Number 4, utilize a meal prep service. Number 5, utilize a protein powder supplement. And maybe at times, 2 times a day when you need, and not as a meal replacement. And then also throwing it into different things like yogurt, oatmeal, cream of rice, cream of wheat, pancakes, and just finding ways to sneak it in. I did explain one recipe, so actually there'll be 3 recipes, but the 1 cup liquid whites, 1 cup water, 1 cup oats, a scoop or 2 of the protein powder, mix it all together, put it in a baking dish and throw it in the microwave for about 5 minutes, and then until you get the consistency that you want, about every 15 to 30 seconds, probably depending on your microwave and the heat of it. For the protein intake per day, it depends on your goals, age, activity level, if you're lifting, all those things. But anywhere from 0.5 to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. If you're trying to just be more intuitive and you are starting with step 1, you're going to eat more protein in your day, more than you have been in the past, then you can refer back to the tips, the hacks that I have recently said. Remember that we're always breaking down and losing amino acids, losing protein. So we need to always be intaking that protein to continue that turnover. Other protein sources would include chicken, turkey, fish, shellfish, lentils, beans, tempeh, tofu, yogurt, and the foods that you maybe normally wouldn't think of that would have protein, not the primary sources, but things like broccoli, avocado, nut butter. Those things also have protein, as well as a lot of other vegetables. And a protein powder supplement can be a good way to help you with protein intake. Like I said before, we are currently having Ascent, ASCENT. Now for the 2 recipes. I love these because they incorporate a lot of protein, not many ingredients, super easy to make, and it's not just your typical bowl of chicken rice and vegetables. Okay, I know I'm all over the place with this episode, but if you have stayed until the very end of this right now, I'm going to throw out another hack or like a tip for getting more protein in. I cannot believe I missed this. This should be like number 1 or 2. And that's using, it's going to sound weird, bone broth. Bone broth is different from regular broth because it has more protein, has more nutrients, better for you. So not just drinking it. I mean, you can. I've gotten like chicken bone broth and just drinking it. Like I just like broth. But what you can do is instead of cooking your rice, if you cook rice, personally, we use jasmine rice. You normally cook it with water, but instead of water, cook it with bone broth. Not only does it add nutrients and protein, but it actually adds an insane, amazing, yummy flavor. And I love the texture. And actually, we accidentally, it like boiled, because we do, it's like 2 cups, but I buy this like organic pouch and it comes out to be about 2 cups. So 2 cups of the water, 1 cup of the rice, put in a pan, let it boil. When it boils, you cover it and put it to a soft boil for about, 25, 30 minutes. But when I was cooking it, it wasn't like it went to a little bit of a boil and then I turned it down right away and covered it. And I don't know if it was just our burner or what was going on. But so we think that it kind of marinated like in the flavor of the bone broth for a lot longer because the flavor is even better in the texture. I don't know. So do that if you want. But if you just cook it with the cook the rice with bone broth instead of water, so good. We get the chicken bone broth. I have not tried it with the beef bone broth. There's also chocolate bone broth, which I know sounds disgusting, but if you make it hot, it tastes like hot chocolate. It is so good. Okay, now moving on to those recipes. The first one is protein donuts. We couldn't find a bigger size, like a normal size for the donut, so it's kind of like a mini donut. And again, this will be in the show notes, so I highly recommend you check out the video. But for 12 donuts, we mixed 160 grams of oats, 100 grams of Greek yogurt. I believe we used vanilla yogurt, if I'm not mistaken. We might have used the plain yogurt. I will double check that and put that in the notes. 240 grams of almond milk. You could probably use any milk. 2 scoops of protein powder. We used chocolate. But again, I'm sure any protein powder would be just fine and just as yummy. 4 grams baking powder, 1.5 teaspoon vanilla, 30 grams of sweetener of your choice. The icing is 50 grams of Greek yogurt, 10 grams of protein powder, 10 grams of almond milk. So you blend in a blender the oats, yogurt, milk, protein powder, vanilla, sweetener. I think we had Swerve. Blend it together in a little blender and then you pour the batter into the donut pan. Bake it at 350 in the oven for 12 minutes. In that time while they're baking, you can make your icing. You can also throw in some food coloring if you want. Or you can use strawberry Greek yogurt if you want to add some color. Next up is a pizza. And now this, we made 2 of them, kind of like a personal size pizza. We had half of it, but we also made some other things too. So you could definitely just eat it all in one night. So very easy. You just mix a can of chicken. I believe it was it's not like the small size of the cans, but a little bit of the bigger size. 7.5 ounce, I believe is what it was, but I will double check that. 1 egg and half a cup of Parmesan cheese. We use just like the grated Parmesan cheese, like the stuff in the green bottles. And then basil, oregano, mix it all up, put it on a piece of parchment paper, flatten it out into a thin crust style pizza, and I mean, you could do any shape. We did a circle. I'm sure you could do a square, rectangle. Bake it for about 20 minutes on 425. And then for your toppings, you can do really whatever. We did it as barbecue chicken, so we use barbecue sauce, I think. Maybe we use marinara sauce. I don't remember. I think we did it as the barbecue chicken, but you can do whatever toppings you want. I know we also added cheese and red onion and then throw it back in the oven until it's a little bit more done or until the toppings are cooked through to whatever doneness that you want. Let me know what you think if you make them or if you have any questions. Again, check the show notes for those recipes. And if you found this information or recipes useful, share with a friend or throw up on your stories and tag me. You can find me at Sophia_Dawn41, also at Flow with the Girl podcast. And lastly, if you have not yet left a review, it would mean the world to me if you did that. It's always nice to know that what I'm doing is making an impact and resonating with some people, and it helps the show get more eyeballs and it helps the show grow in a way that is organic. And when other people are searching for podcasts and they see the reviews and what other people think, people are more inclined to take a listen. So again, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I love you. And with that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, night, week, weekend. Bye for now.